Yeah.
All right. H-Rod, Hector Rodriguez back in the house. Second time on the show, and I can't wait to talk to him. He just completed the Triple Crown of 200s. That's three 200-mile races in 3 months. So super badass, dude. I can't wait to hear about this. But Hector, how you been, brother?
I'm good, and I'm excited to be back on the show and to talk to you again, man. I'm super pumped.
Yes, yes. So Moab 240 was pretty recently. How are you feeling right now?
I feel my muscles all feel pretty good. Mentally, I feel great. During the race, I like for the first time experienced like a ton of pain in my shin
Really?
and just battling, probably what was like a shin splint or something. I'm still not even sure completely what it is,
Really?
but it caused me to basically swell up and rock some cankles for a while. So I'm just waiting for this to heal. Feels like I'm actually not too far away from being ready to rock and roll again. It doesn't seem to be serious. So I think here in a few days, I'll be able to at least get a nice light jog in.
Nice, nice. Wow, man. So last time I talked to you, you had just finished, was it, I believe it was Moab 240 that you did last year?
I think so. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that, dang, man, time flies.
I know. It's been like a year exactly. So how did this
Wow.
how did this grow from last year? I talked to you, you did Moab 240 to all of a sudden this year you're doing the Triple Crown, three 200s in 3 months. How did it grow like that? Like what was the idea behind it?
I think there was two things. I think last year, when I spoke to you, I was just coming off of what we went like right into the pandemic at the start of 2020. So my challenges were basically a 100 miler that I did for Aravaipa on the virtual strong. And then I went for a 146-mile last person standing on a treadmill also, which I DNF'd, but DNF'd to Jake Jackson, who won the race. And then it was Moab 240. So Moab 240 was probably like the most epic challenge race, like whatever you want to call it, that I had ever done. So I knew after that like I fell in love kind of with the 200-mile distance, with being out there, and wanting to step up the challenge from kind of like those three big challenges I put on myself in 2020. I was like, well, how can I go bigger in 2021? And it just made perfect sense with how much I love Moab to go for the Triple Crown of 200. So I, threw my name in the lottery for all of them and got in and went after it.
Wow. You said you wanted to do something bigger this year than last year, and obviously you did. Did it deliver? Did you get what you wanted out of this thing?
Oh man, the most beautiful, most epic 60 days of my life.
Awesome.
On just so many levels, man. With the races, with the meeting people, with bringing out a community, with giving back to rods, with just being around people that are just like pushing their limits, and then everyone that's like supporting that. It's just so much love. I think is like just the best way to describe it. Love, community, encouragement, beauty. And so I literally was like in that environment for 60 days and had a blast. And, I'm already missing it. So loved it, man. I loved it.
And you have so much support, dude. Like when I see these videos and pictures of you, you're rolling with like 10, 15 people, and the Wolfpack's just getting bigger and bigger. And like I see these slow motion videos. It looks like you're like almost modeling clothes and stuff. I'm like, dang, this guy's a model now, it looks like.
That's hilarious. Hey, man, so we are modeling, but like behind every piece of clothes that I've modeled, I'm giving back to. One was I gave every single penny of profit to Rod's organization, which is Racing for Orphans with Down Syndrome. And then we did another like clothing collab where my buddy Justin True is doing the most gnarliest triathlon ever thought of.
Really?
So just to support him, I wanted to make sure that we're doing our part as Wolfpack, as a community, to raise whatever we could from the sale of some hoodies and pass it to him. So basically any of the clothing modeling you're doing, it's all for just giving back, man, and having fun.
For sure. For sure. No, I appreciate it, man. And, like, yeah, like I said, there's like these slow motion videos and I'm like, dang,
Yeah.
like what's the Wolfpack doing now? Are they moving to something new? Are they going to start modeling or what's up? But no, man, I appreciate what you're doing. Giving all that money back. That's admirable, man. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So last year you were running like 10 miles a day. You were averaging some pretty big miles. Were you still doing that this year?
Yeah.
Is your body allowing that?
Yeah. I think, to each their own. I think to me, that's what made me durable, during the Triple Crown and what allowed me to finish. Like it's not for everybody, but I have shin pain, but I'm 99% sure it's going to subside here in the next couple of days. I think all of that time on feet would be the biggest contributor that I could say is what helped me finish the Triple Crown of 200s, because it was a lot of time on feet, man. It was a lot of days in a lot of different mountain ranges and a lot of different elements, from cold, rain, snow, heat. So for me, it just worked. It was really extreme, but it worked for me. So once I'm healed, I'll continue kind of with my daily routine.
Yeah. Now, are you running like 2-a-days? Because I think you have a full-time job, right? It looks like you're in your RV, and I just picture you working in a computer, like working from home type of thing. Is that right?
Yeah. So exactly. So when I do my 10 miles a day, it's running, walking, hiking. Like For me, I count movement. And to me, I believe that's what we all should do. Maybe not 10 miles, but let's all just move. Yeah. Like if I could wish anything for people, it would be let's move. And then if you can, do it in nature, because that stuff is epic. Mm-hmm. So I do have a job where I am virtual, where I can work off of my laptop. So whenever, I wake up early, I'll get some miles in. If during lunch, I might go for a walk, and then after work, I'll go get some more miles. So, and then after that, spend time with the family. So I get my miles a lot of different ways. And then obviously there's times where I'm feeling really good and I'll wake up 4 or 5 in the morning. I'll get my 10 miles right off the get-go, Sure. So it just depends on how I'm feeling. But I believe for me that discipline, because there's a lot of days I don't want to do the crap, there's a lot of days I'm not feeling like it, but to still do it, to still, have that consistency, the discipline, like doing it when I don't want to do it, is built so much confidence for everything else in my life. And that's why even if I stopped racing or I stopped, any of that, like to me, that has been such a core vehicle for success in so many other things, was just the confidence that fuck, I can do something that sucks so bad. Mm-hmm. Like I can do this other stuff really easy, so it kind of re-baselines what's hard. Yeah. For me at least, and what I'm capable of.
Is it that discipline and the day after day grind? Is that what it is for you that really makes you stronger? Like some people can get by on low mileage and they're lifting weights or something instead. For you, is it that grind day after day that makes you mentally and physically tough?
Yeah, because it's hard. Yeah. It's hard to continue like 10, 10, 10. And then if I miss a day, okay, I got 2 today, then now I need 18, and it does. Like for me, it's just a reminder. It keeps me tough through it all. Like it keeps me tough in life and just confident. Like I've said it before, like I walk with a peace. Like I just know I can work really hard. And I know the energy I put in this, I can, and I have pivoted towards business and starting businesses, giving back, and for my employer who I work for now, and being a husband and a father. So it all just ties in really well.
That's beautiful, man. So yeah, you're a family man living in an RV. How long have you guys been in the RV?
So let's see, when did we decide to roll like this? I think we started rolling like this right before Moab of last year.
Okay. So it's been over a year.
And it's been over a year. And the plan was we were going to do this all the way through the Triple Crown and then kind of go from there. So I think we're about to look for getting another home, and getting back, a little bit more stability.
Sure.
At least for the next few months. But I will always keep this RV, so I can always do what I just did. Like I had the absolute blast. For me, I could do an RV as long as I'm posted up near mountains, canyons, trails, all that good nature stuff. Like I'm good. So I'll always keep this.
Nice. Are you guys going to stay in San Diego?
I'm not 100% sure on that. To be honest with you, I'm kind of debating. It'll either be San Diego or maybe somewhere in Arizona.
Okay.
Would be my top two picks. I really, really liked a lot that I experienced while I was out in Phoenix. I really love, Aravaipa with all the races they do. I like Phoenix a lot. So,
cool.
If I do something, it might be out in that area if it's not here in San Diego.
Okay. And it's you and your wife and how many kids?
2 girls.
2 girls. Okay. Is it pretty crowded in there? I'm guessing that you're used to it by now, but I'm guessing that's a common question. But yeah, is it crowded in there?
And I got 2 dogs in here.
Wow.
I would say this is pretty big. So I think we have probably good amount of space for the 4 of us. It's when we have people come and visit, like we had the Wolfpack hanging out here, and everybody was just like crashed everywhere is what I'm hearing while I was running Moab, as people were like shuttling back and forth. So there we get crammed, but we get outside too, like right outside, you put up some camping chairs and you can have all the space you want. So we make it work.
Cool.
I love it.
It's so cool, man. And so was your wife crewing for you? I know your sister's part of your crew team as well, or who exactly is out there for you among the 15 people that you're rolling with?
Yeah. Yeah, we always roll with a Wolfpack. So for the first 2 races, my sister was the crew chief for the events, which one was a really big one that was really difficult, which was unfortunately the Tahoe 200 got canceled due to some fires. So I created like a Wolfpack San Diego 200 race. And that was like a lot of people coming and going. And that was a lot of work for somebody to be like coordinating who's showing up, who's coming back, and people need rides back to their cars and feeding people and, all that stuff. But for Moab, I had like a big crew. I would say my wife and my mom really stepped up to kind of be the crew chief and get everybody where they needed to be, make sure people were eating, make sure people were ready to go, make sure my bags had the required gear, that things were charged, that I was good, looking over my feet, just different things like that. I would say my wife and my mom did a hell of a job kind of stepping up to the plate for that one.
Cool. Your sister wasn't involved in the 3rd race?
No.
Okay.
She was like happy to bounce out on after the first 2. So I don't know if she was having fun the way she was earlier on. So
okay. Yeah. Well,
so we gave her a break on that one.
Nice. Well, it's understandable, but it's pretty awesome that your wife and your mom stepped up and helped you out. Yeah, that's fantastic, man. So, walk us through this thing, man. Bigfoot 200 was the first one of the year, right? You didn't have any races before that.
In every month, if I'm not mistaken, I did an ultra.
Oh, okay.
Whether it was an official race or whether it was just me going out and doing at least a 50K.
Nice. Okay.
And then I think it was in May. There's a race called Las Vegas Jackpot Ultra. which is, and I did the 48-hour version.
Oh, wow.
So it's basically like this park in Las Vegas that's like has like a 2-mile loop, which I think a mile is kind of like on dirt, and the other mile is like asphalt. And it's like, how many loops can you do in 48 hours? So I did that one, just kind of getting, I knew that would be a good sleep deprivation, multi-day race. I think I ended up doing pretty well. I think I got third place male in that one.
How many miles?
And knocked out, I think I did 130, but I did 100 in like sub 24. And then that second day, an opportunity I've learned in all these races is I need to train more on road. I think the road crushed me, and I started having like feet pain that I think is just from the asphalt, and I'm used to trails and dirt, which is a lot more giving.
Yep.
So I did 100 miles on day one on that race, and then just freaking suffered to get another 30. And so I did that in May, and then no other big challenges other than maybe just doing 30, 40 miles on my own accord, or maybe a 50K here and there.
Sure.
And then got to Bigfoot, but I felt ready to go once I got there.
Yeah. So you felt trained up. Have you been playing? I know you've been hanging out with Michael McKnight. So have you been playing around with your diet at all? Have you experimented with any of the high fat, low carb diets, or how did you approach that this year?
Yeah, I was taking his guidance on with that. There was definitely good periods where initially I was playing with tracking all of my stuff just to get a feel of what a day looks like on like a typical meal, and then how many carbs do I have, and then pivot that to with my training. So he was absolutely helping me with that. And I would say that I was following that practice all the way through. Now in the races, like, it was crazy, and I don't know, I gotta like figure it out, but like for Moab, for instance, man, I saw Skittles, and I don't even eat Skittles, but freaking Skittles looked amazing, and I was like pounding Skittles or Coca-Cola, and like all this like unhealthy stuff. It was just like, and maybe it was because I needed more calories, or I didn't have enough of like the high fat diet early in the race, or with my crew or whatever. So I got to figure that out. But man, when I saw like Skittles or Snickers or just some of that stuff, I was pounding it.
You earned it, man. And from the pictures I see, tell me if I'm wrong, you look like a bigger guy, like you have a little bit upper body weight. How tall are you, and how much do you weigh, if you don't mind saying?
Yeah, like I bounce around. So I'm 5'10", 5'10 and a half, and I bounce around, I don't know, anywhere from 180 to 185, 190.
Okay. So a little bit bigger for a runner, for sure.
For sure. 100%.
Did you lose a lot of weight over the last 60 or 90 days?
No, not at all. Like, so when I started into the ultras, I was like 228 pounds. And then I think at my lowest, I got down to 178. And then I just kind of bounce around now, just in the 180s.
For sure.
Why I think I didn't lose weight, and I was talking to another buddy who did the Triple Crown, and he kind of did the same thing where I like did the race, and my appetite after the race was like so high, like I wanted to just eat everything, but then my body wasn't healed for me to go run it all off. So I was actually like eating like I was still doing my 10 miles a day, but I wasn't doing my 10 miles a day. It took me like almost probably like 2.5 weeks to recover and either get back on a bike or a run. And then, I'd have a week and a half, and then I'd do it again. And then, so I didn't have like my same flow in these past 3 months that I normally would.
Okay. Yeah. And you've earned it, man. When it comes to race time, all bets are off. Just eat anything and everything you can eat just to keep yourself going. You stay as healthy as you can, but towards the end of those races or the second half, man, eat the Skittles, eat the Snickers, drink the Coke. It's a celebration, man. You're celebrating all the training.
What it was, man.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. So let's start with Bigfoot. How did that go for you? It was the first time you did it, I believe. From what I hear, it's a beautiful course. What were your thoughts?
I thought it was a beautiful course. I concur with that. It was the hardest race I've ever done in my life, and even after doing my own San Diego 200 and the Moab 240 twice, that one is for me by far the hardest.
Okay.
Super beautiful. I feel like I didn't prepare for that. I was kind of expecting it to be more of like a Moab, and in Moab, you get vert, you get like 30K vert or almost 30K, but there's so much sections where you can actually run. Like it's flat, or like the vert is not drastic, like you can run it. So I was thinking that's kind of how Bigfoot would be. I knew the vert, so going into the race, they had to like do some adjusting to where I think they added 3 miles and they added, I think, 4K of vert, if I recall correctly. So now it was like a 206 or 209 mile or 208 mile run with 46K vert. And so I knew it was going to be tough. And I'm looking at each leg and I'm like, that's a lot of vert per segment. But once I got going, it was like, and I could have it wrong, but this is just how my brain processed it. It was like you're either going up, straight up, or straight down. Like there was like no runnable up, and then going down was like very technical and very difficult to go down, so you couldn't run down. So I was getting very frustrated at times in the race because I was like, one, I didn't train like power hiking, which is what I ended up doing. Probably 90% of that race was me just power hiking and just me moving, worried that I might not finish it because I never trained hard on power hiking. And then me going like, when do I get a run? Like I want to run. So I think maybe it could also have been like a lack of my skill on the technical parts of like, you know, maybe other people run down that. But there were also these big trees, like huge trees, like if you can see me, like really big, that were just falling left and right all over the course. And I don't know why there were so many fallen trees and overgrown trails. So like anytime you get a rhythm, it's like, okay, now I got to go under this tree or I got to hop over it. And then, you know, you get a little bit and it's under and over, you know, and once you're like 100 miles in, like just squatting, you know, crushes you, you know, like it makes you want to cry. Yep. So if like every quarter mile you're having to hop a tree or you're having to squat below it, you know, it starts to wear on you mentally, you know, on top of like, when do I get to the top of this mountain, you know? Right, and then you get to the top and it's like, oh, now I got to work my butt off to get down, and it hurts just as bad going up. Yeah. So it was really, really, really tough. Like I literally cried, I think like 3 times on that race, going like, yeah, like I was bawling like a baby, man. Like I was like, I don't know if I could do this, and I didn't want to let people down. So it really, that one pushed me really hard, mentally and physically. So for sure, that's the toughest in my book.
That's rough when the first one is your toughest like that, because it kind of knocks your confidence down a little bit. When you have a couple more big ones coming up, you start thinking, man, maybe I'm not going to be able to do this. Were any of those negative thoughts creeping into your head, or did you generally stay pretty positive?
I talked to other people and they were all kind of like aligned that Bigfoot is the hardest. Okay. So I was kind of going with the approach of like, well, I just did the hardest, so everything from here is downhill, okay. You know? So I kind of looked at it that way of like, it can only get easier. Like I'm not having to do 46K vert again. There was one section that was like 17 miles and like 7,000 feet of climbing, if I recall correctly. Like that kills people alone, you know? Right. And we had that like in the middle of our race, and I was like, oh man, like this race was trying to take my soul, you know? But we topped the wood. We topped that wood.
Good. Yeah. So what was that finish line like? Were you completely destroyed? Were you still just like eye on the prize, looking forward to these 2 more races, or how were you feeling at that point?
So there was a point, one of the last climbs, where I mentioned I was crying or bawling. Like that was one of them. Like I was just like mentally a wreck and just like just done. But I knew that I had just climbed the final like tough peak.
Mm-hmm.
So coming down from that, and then like the last, and I don't know if I have this like 100% accurate, but like the last maybe 10 miles, the last 15 miles, like at some point it turned flat and it turned runnable. So I had, my legs were saved, you know, so it just made it kind of started all of the bad went away, and I was like, okay, like now it's flat. Now like I'm almost done. I'm almost to the finish line. You know, I'm gonna see the family, and so it just shifted the mentality. And as I got closer, like I started getting like more energy, maybe because I wasn't using the running muscles that because I was using power hiking. So I'm sure there was some kind of dynamic switch in my muscles that kind of made me feel a little fresher than normally I would. So I coming out of that race, I was definitely sleep deprived, but other than that, like I bounced back, or I had the miles to bounce back mentally, and was just happy that I just did 46K feet of vert, you know?
Yeah.
And so I started feeling really proud that like, I'm a bad dude.
Yeah.
You know, at least that's what I'm telling myself.
Yes, sir.
In the race is like, you're a bad dude. You just finished 46K.
Yes, sir.
So I was getting pretty amped about, you know, that, and that I knocked out the hardest one at that point is what I thought.
Good for you, man. And then between races, like what does your family life look like? Are you just completely recovering? Is there any training going on? Are you eating like a maniac? And yeah, is the family dynamic just kind of all screwed up in between races, or did you manage it pretty well?
So my family was with me this whole time. And so in between the races, I had the RV. So I'd spend like the rest of, so I was finishing on Tuesdays. If I'm not mistaken, I probably would take 3 days of just laying around in the fetal position, not moving.
Right.
And then by the weekend, we would start working our way from whatever city we were in towards, like, so in this instance, towards Tahoe.
Okay.
And just light walking, you know, spending time with the family, doing, you know, whatever they want to do, go to the park, you know, go shopping, go get a meal, like all that kind of stuff. And then around the 2.5 week mark, I feel pretty good mentally and physically. I had recently just pulled out, before running, I was doing triathlons. So I have a tri bike. So I pulled that out and started spinning on that just to keep the cardio up and not have it impact the body. And then normally like the week before, it was all just like super light runs was kind of my routine. And then I'd go, for each race, I felt as fresh as I could be, given the circumstances.
Yeah,
with that kind of routine. Yeah.
And so then are you running regular mileage, like the couple weeks up to the race?
No.
Low mileage?
No. Okay. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Probably, I don't think I ever went over 5 miles.
Okay. Okay.
To me, I felt like what's the saying? The hay is in the barn?
Yeah, you're already trained.
I was already trained. I'm like, it was just more maintenance, just staying a little loose, you know, just getting some miles in. And I was good. I calculated that in 3 years prior to Bigfoot, I probably did somewhere between 11 and 12,000 miles. So like, I felt very confident that my 10 mile a day average for so long would get me to the finish line. So like, I also, because of what that has done mentally for me, like I talked about this with a buddy, was like, when you've invested so many miles, so like I invested 10 miles a day for nearly 3 years, you know, to give me 11, 12,000 miles leading up to that race, like you better believe it was going to take a hell of a lot for me to give up when I put so much work into getting trained up for it. So like I had, even though it was very hard, I had a lot of confidence that it was going to have to be like Candace was going to have to come bring the helicopter to get me out of those mountains. You know, like I invested so much that it would have had to take a really bad injury for me to not finish this. Yeah. So, and I think if I didn't invest so many miles and so much time and so many hours, then maybe it's a little easier for me to just go, like Bigfoot was too hard. I was expecting it to run more and I didn't want to power hike, but like, hell no. Like I invested so much that like, if I got a power hike, I might be crying and I might be pissed and I might be frustrated, but we getting it done.
Yes,
and
sir.
So that was kind of the mentality.
Awesome. And then when did you get the news about Tahoe and how did that affect things? Like when you first heard the news, did you know right away, okay, I'm going to make up my own 200, or were you bummed out for a little while, or what did that look like?
I knew, so I was in Tahoe already, like working to get acclimated to the altitude.
Okay.
And I love Tahoe. Anybody who's been to Tahoe knows that place is dope. Like It's amazing there.
It is.
So I was like, cool, I'll post up in Tahoe. But as soon as we got there, like I was smelling the smoke. And I was getting like, we literally like the first 3 nights had bears at our campsite. My wife saw a bear in the bed of my truck.
Whoa.
We took videos of bears running around. And so like, part of me was like, yeah, that's really cool. Like I'm seeing bears and like wildlife. But then another part of me was like, I really hope that the fires aren't like, then it's super sad if the fires are bringing the bears into the city to look for food because I could smell it, So then I was like, man, this is super sad. This is, bummed. And so I was there, we would get like some days where the weather was good and it would actually see a blue sky. And then later in the day it would just turn into like smoke and haze. So after, I don't know, like 5 or 6 days, like I knew it was the right call and I felt it coming that they were going to cancel it. So as soon as they canceled it, then it was like, okay, well, now they're putting this virtual race that you could do to have it count. And so immediately I knew that I would do it and I would do it in San Diego. What I didn't know was like if I was going to follow like the rules to the race or just do my own thing. And because as soon as I realized that I could do this in San Diego, my motive was like, bring the community out. Like, let's get everybody moving. Let's make this like an event to where people get to meet for the first time. There's community. They come run with me. And so where I was nervous was at first I didn't know the rules. I didn't know if it was going to be no pacers or only one pacer, where like I wanted it to be, especially since it was in San Diego, I wanted like whoever to come,
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully I got permission, and in the rules, they said that you can have as many pacers as you want. So thankfully it aligned to where we could have all the pacers, which meant I could have the community come out. And in one of the most beautiful experiences in my life, the community came out and like we had a blast. Mm-hmm. So that was, so I knew we were going to do it, and I knew we were going to do it in San Diego.
Cool. That's so cool. What did that course look like? I mean, were you running mostly pavement and streets? And it sounds like your RV was like the rolling aid station, kind of just picking up after everybody. Or how did that go?
So the RV was was that for Moab. For San Diego was different. San Diego, what I liked about my race, and maybe it's very different than other trail runners or other people doing it, was I wanted to start in the city. So I literally started at Petco Park, is where the San Diego Padres play. So I wanted to start in the city, in downtown. I remember living in downtown San Diego and partying in nightclubs and running around chasing girls and getting hammered and spending my weekends like thinking that's life, And it was really cool to kind of circle back, to go back into downtown. And for me, this is me personally, now I'm finally doing what's cool. Like, it's not cool to me to go get hammered every single weekend and spend, ridiculous money and chase the girls and do all that stuff that I was doing. It was cool to wake up at 4 a.m, to be at Petco Park by 6, to go crush a 200-miler with my friends. You know,
Yeah.
like it was a real, just really cool turnaround to see like that life, which I thought was cool, is not cool, and this is cool, but we're gonna do it here, you know, in the same venue almost. So that meant something to me to like go back there, but go back there for the right reason, and it was to show a community, hey, let's meet here, and then now let's run. So I ran from basically our local Padre Stadium, ran road maybe for 10, 12 miles, and then got on a dirt trail coming south in San Diego, and then we headed east through, you know, just a bunch of different mountains, and I ended up looking at just different maps and ended up getting super close to the border, super close to Mexico, and climbed some mountains there because there's some good vert, and then looped all the way out. So in San Diego, all our mountains are in East County, is what we call it. So basically went all through East County, and then worked my way back basically to the coast, and then ran, I don't know, maybe the last 8 miles or 5 miles along the coast to like kind of this landmark of the roller coaster on the beach. I thought would be really cool. And I had a camera crew with me. So I thought it was really cool to kind of start in downtown, hit the mountains, and then hit the beach. And I thought that'd be a really cool way when people do get to see the film to showcase our city of San Diego. And because I love it. And I think it's one of the greatest places in the country.
Totally.
For beauty.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool, man. And how many people joined you out there?
I never ran alone, which was freaking awesome for 207 or 210 miles.
Right.
So I always had a pack. You know, there was a section where it was just me and one person, and then I had people at the cruise stations. And then there was another section. So we have a popular mountain park, like kind of in the middle of the city. It's called Mission Trails. There was a point where maybe there was like 50, 60 people.
Whoa.
So I had some issues earlier on the race where I had to like get out of Indian lands before like before they were gonna like kick me out or give me a ticket for trespassing. So like so we had to like book it, and I had to reroute some sections. So when I had to reroute some sections on the fly, I ended up getting to this mountain park with more miles and less vert than I wanted. And I knew I wanted to end at the beach. So I ended up having to go into this mountain park and basically do this, I forgot, I think it's 1.2 miles, 875 feet up. So for me to keep the miles down and get the vert I needed to meet the criteria to have this count as a virtual Tahoe 200 towards the Triple Crown, I had to do this hill 10 times. And it was like, that might have been like one of the hardest sections of the whole Triple Crown, was like mentally going up this mountain that's like basically 1 mile straight up and down. Also a little technical, 10 times, you know, when you're, and this was like already after, I don't know, 150 miles, 160 miles.
Jeez.
So, but thankfully, like at this spot is where I had the most people, the most love, the most encouragement, the most support of probably the whole Triple Crown.
Wow.
Was like some of the local trail, a lot of things that maybe people don't know about San Diego is we have really big trail community. Like there's basically 4 big trail running clubs that kind of separate the whole city, but then they all collab and they do events and runs and challenges and all that stuff. And a good portion of people from all 4 of those groups came out and came to do one hill with me, and then some stayed back to do more. So super awesome. So yeah, there was a lot of people that evening for sure.
Wow. So as you're doing repeats up and down this hill, other people are joining you for sections, and I'm guessing you're all going at different paces. So there's just people all over the place. Did you have to worry about getting permits or anything like that to make this thing happen?
No, hell no. No, but I I would never do what I did again, because I may or may have not broken the law a bunch of different times by doing what I did. Like,
Sure.
I may have trespassed quite a bit. I may have probably pissed off the Border Patrol and had them like check on us like 10 different times and make sure we were safe. I probably didn't make the tribal police very happy when I was running through, some of their section. I didn't know, like, when I built the 200 with the tool that I use, it doesn't tell you, hey, this is private property or this is that, but I was also, so determined to not let anything stop me, and so if it meant like I gotta hurry up and hop this fence, and like it was never like somebody's backyard, like maybe only a couple times, but it was like more like just these lands where it says like no trespassing, and it was like no one's around, it's big open thing, but like I'm still very nervous the whole time I'm running through it with the Wolfpack, or a couple of buddies going like, let's get the hell out of here. So yeah, it was a crazy experience. Dude. But yeah, no permits, no nothing. We just, next time though, like I know these spots, so I would stay away from it. Like I would never go so close to the border again. Like that was when those guys were driving the vehicles in those mountains like insane, like with such purpose, like catching people. It was really, it was like that gnarly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And they stopped you
guys.
Like
high speed chase in the mountains. Yeah, we told them what we were doing. So they were like, okay, like cool, but like we'll like radio the other people so they know you're there. But like I didn't even know like these mountains have sensors, so there's just a lot going on in those mountains that I had no idea.
Wow.
I was very naive.
Dude, you're lucky you didn't get shot or put in jail or something. It could have gone pretty sour.
Yeah, at the very least, like I'm surprised we didn't get like ticketed or like somebody to throw us in a car and then move us, to somewhere else, which could have jacked up my race. So we got lucky in a lot of ways that we just kept moving and got the hell out of these not good situations.
Yeah, yeah. And so to complete that virtual race, you needed like 200 and X amount of miles and X amount of vert?
Yeah, I needed 200.1 miles, 33,800 feet of vert, and I needed to do it in 110 hours, if I recall correctly.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's incredible, man. You got the whole community involved, a bunch of people out there running. You're an inspirational person. I bet you just had a bunch of people out there supporting. It just sounds like a blast.
Yeah, what I found, what was the most beautiful thing out of it is like if anything, like I had people telling me like I'm a magnet over in Moab, like in that, like somehow like I attract people or whatever, and like I like rolling around with the Wolfpack, as like we've already said a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But what has been really cool and it really stood out in the San Diego was like if you're rolling with me, like there's so many people that I met for the first time, but like I knew through Instagram or social media, or that I met who've been supportive. Like I just know as soon as we meet people, it's brother or sister, it's love, hug, like we're family immediately. And I know that like something in these people is just special and it's beautiful. And like I see it. Like I don't know how I see it, but I just see it. I just know if somebody's a rock star person or not. And maybe that's like my superhero to being able to have like this Wolfpack. Like I just know I can see it. Somehow I can just see it. And what was really beautiful was all of these people came and then they just were like family instantly, and we're connecting and we're like, hell yeah, and exchanging phone numbers and having laughs, and it turned into just like not me just going like, oh, thanks for being here, like much love. It was like love everywhere. Everybody was like mingled. Everybody was loving each other. Everybody was supporting each other. Like no doubt there was like so many lifelong relationships, friendships, love, brother, sisterhood that came from people meeting in that event. And so like I was like dying, right? Like I'm going up that hill repeat, and I just see so many people meeting for the first time, having deep conversations like in the middle of the night about life and about things they went through, traumas they've had, you know, and then somebody that they just met, like giving them love and support and talking through it. And it was just like, holy shit, like this is rad, you know, and then even afterwards, like celebrating, you know, just community, man. So like, I think what was just as beautiful as the challenge that I put myself in the Triple Crown was the community that came out of the Triple Crown. Like I have people that like I will love, support, encourage, has my back like no other. And I met like a whole more Wolfpack in Moab. It's like, like you said, it's forever growing, man. It's like so rad.
Wow.
So many good people.
So cool. You are like the connector, man. You're the connector of all these
somehow.
People.
I don't know like why that is or how that is, but like I'm happy to do it, because when I see these people getting along, like my whole crew, like in Moab, like these guys are all best friends now. They just 3 of them signed up for a 100-miler next month.
Nice.
Like, so like I love it. It's like it's cool. Like it's just cool. It's just people trying to be better than yesterday, using ultra running to be better in life, giving back, and just supporting each other. It's like it's perfect for me. It's like
yeah. I can feel it, man. I can sense it. I can sense that it's perfect for you. And you're at that stage where you're able to give back to the community and connect these people. So it's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, hats off to you, man. It's so cool. So we're up to Moab.
yeah.
Like, were there any doubts that had crept into your head before Moab, or after the 2 were completed, were you just like, we're going downhill now, ain't nothing going to stop me?
No doubts before. Moab was the first time I didn't have my sister or my brother as my crew chief, but I felt the team I had was solid. So like maybe that gave me like a little worry at first. But as far as the race, I felt I had done it, where the other 2, you know, I had never done it.
Yeah, that
and
helps.
coming off of the San Diego 200, where like I had like almost like an anxiety after some of the issues we ran into the San Diego 200. We also bushwhacked a ton of trail. Like there was trail that like I probably hadn't been on in years, and that we had to like bushwhack, and because the map didn't tell us like this isn't a common trail. So like to go into Moab with like a peace of mind that like these trails are legit.
Yeah.
There's aid stations, you know, I don't have to worry if like I need to hurry, like if I'm going to be in trespassing or illegal lands or any of this stuff. Like all of that made me just like relax so much more. Now where I did in the whole event, where I got most maybe fearful that I would finish this was during Moab. There's this section where you do like 2 13-mile-ish segments, so like a marathon of basically like it's mainly like a flat road. And definitely, like I mentioned earlier, an opportunity I have is like I don't train in road, and I need to stop that. Like I need to make sure I include road training, so when I do hit asphalt on these trail runs, I'm better acclimated and stronger. But it really was so painful in my shins. Earlier in the race, I was having pain in my shins from a road section and had them like a medic tape it. So I was coming out of this 26-mile section. I don't remember what time it was, but it was definitely dark. And literally in my head, I was like, should I call Mike McKnight? I know he just won this. He's probably resting, but I don't care. I got to call the dude. And so like I was literally like debating, like, do I call him, do I not? And as I was hitting the aid station, I looked to the right, and there's Mike and his wife, you know? So I was like, oh my gosh. I literally, like, if I recall correctly, like I went into his chest, like with my head, like just happy to see him, but like I couldn't hug him, like, because I was just so tired. But like I put my head in his chest, like, oh, like, thank you for being here right now. So I told him what I was dealing with, because I didn't know, like, do I stretch this? Do I take a break? Can I tape it a certain way? I knew like I should switch the shoes. So I just wanted like any feedback he had that could mitigate it, because it was getting so bad that like every step was just so painful. And I didn't know if I was leading. I'm a believer you push through pain, but I'm not a believer you push through injury.
Right.
But I would have got close to pushing through injury. I just didn't want to go past that point, So thankfully he was like, oh, he goes, you're having, what did he tell me? He goes like, you're having hip issues. I was like, what are you talking about, man? My shin is hurting, not my hip. And he goes, go see Ben. So Ben Light, I don't know if you know who Ben Light is, but he's amazing. So I go to my car and my shin is throbbing, and then Ben's like, yeah, it's your hip or your dinner. I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, like it's my shin. So long story short, they were like, no, it's all connected, And so he was like pressed. So Ben got in my crew vehicle. He like put me on my side and just started doing like this body work. And I know he loves me, but like I felt like he was trying to kill me. Like I was squealing so bad, and like everything he was doing, like up, like kind of in my hip, was making my shin feel better. It was like so crazy, because they were saying like it's all connected and this and that. So Ben spent like a good amount of time. He like I forgot everything he said and everything he did, but he did a lot of work on me. And he was just like, hopefully, with what I've released and this and that, like it just doesn't get worse. And so thankfully it didn't. And like he shared a couple of like techniques with my crew and family. So like at all the aid stations, we did like this work on the hips and the side. Even if like I kind of like just would walk and kind of hold it in, it would kind of relieve pressure down there, which I still don't wrap my head around it. And maybe it's placebo. I don't know.
Right.
But whatever it was, like it worked. It like at least made it manageable. So like once like that kind of didn't go over the edge of what I could handle from a pain perspective or an injury perspective, then like I was back to like, okay, let's get this done. And so I never felt that I wouldn't get it done. So that was just kind of my scare tactic. So thank you, Mike McKnight. Thank you, Ben Light. I love you guys. You guys are huge. Right time. Perfect. And like, how awesome is that they came out to the course to come, come check on me and come check on a couple of others, after winning the race, so right. I love that, dude.
It was meant to happen. Dude. Yeah. They were just meant to be there to help you, man. It was all part of a bigger plan. Like, and
that goes back to community, man. Like it's community. Like Mike McKnight just freaking won the race, crushed the course record, if I'm not mistaken, 55 hours. And he still, in his heart, wants to come back on the course in the night with his wife, with his buddy, to check on us. Like if that's not one of the most beautiful gestures and awesome things to be a part of that kind of community, then like, I don't know what is. Like, right. I'm like equally hooked for testing my limits, but like the community part is what makes this next level. People like that.
Yeah. Agreed, man. And you've tapped into the right people, man. It's beautiful, right? Right place, right time to make those magic moments happen. And, those are the memories you're going to look back on and remember. When you think about Moab, that's going to be probably a big one that sticks out for you. Like, these guys were here for me. They helped me. They fixed me up, and I'm never, ever going to forget it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's beautiful. How'd the rest of the race go? So I'm guessing you were feeling a little bit better, but was it still like, how did it go?
Yeah, it went better because once I was able to like go up and down, even if it was gradual, it took like my shin issue was from the flat road and the repetitiveness of just that constant, like same angle.
Okay.
So once like I would go up, I think going up, I almost didn't feel it at all. And then like gradually going up or gradually going down, like it would just alleviate some. So I had definitely times where like I had to like just take a couple of deep breaths and go like, all right, like this shit is hurting, but just like relax for a minute. Like calm down, and all right, okay, let's go. And I did that like a lot of times. But the next like kind of wild part was the last night. I took a nap, and I think like at 4:30 a.m. woke up. I had a buddy who was doing the Moab 240 for the first time, who was like tagging along with me. So he woke up, and I think our goal was to leave by 5. As soon as we head out, boom, snowstorm.
Oh yeah.
So we started going through a snowstorm. I felt prepared from a gear perspective. Like I probably had in that video clip, I probably had like a shirt, a long sleeve, a hoodie, a puffy, and a rain jacket. So I probably had like 5 layers, plus like a buff, gloves, really warm tights, and really warm socks. But my buddy had just like these compression tights only, and I don't think he realized how cold it was going to get on us. So I got a little worried for him because like he couldn't stop. Like if he stopped, he was getting too cold and he was like having issues. So yeah, like I think he was a little worried with like hypothermia and some other issues that could come with it being snowing, wet, not properly dressed, and we were already like too far gone. So, and then later on, like a huge windstorm like came where he literally, like I was kind of okay, but he literally went and ducked for cover.
Oh no.
Which was kind of gnarly. But so we had I just had like a little nervousness for him, like just keep moving, dude, like keep like, because as you're moving, your body's staying warm, so you're fine.
Yeah.
But we were also like 220 miles into the race. So, and then I also know that I think when you're keeping warm, your body's burning more calories. So just, staying on top of all that, I was just kind of tracking him, like more worried for him at that point. But then as the sun started to come up, the snow subsided, things warmed up, then it was pretty much smooth sailing all the way to the finish line. So a little scared, but nothing major. And, we had some fun in the snow.
How sweet was that finish? I mean, you've been working towards this thing for a year now, all the training, all the planning, the preparation. I mean, there's so much that goes into it, especially for a family man with kids. I mean, so much goes into this. I'm just picking a number, but what were like the last 10 or 20 miles like? Were you able to soak it all in and just really think about how special this thing is?
I don't think I processed it all yet. Because for me, it's like, it's just been so much, man. Like, like I feel like I'm very much a regular guy,
Sure.
But if I think about like the last, I don't know, say 6 months, and I think about like, like on Instagram, I'll run around, I'll have some Tupac on or some house music, and I'll be silly sometimes, or sometimes I'll, put something from the heart. I'll do all these gnarly challenges. I do all this stuff, and, it has had impact for a lot of people through like private messages and, different ways that people have let me know that like I've inspired them,
Mm-hmm.
And then I think of like everything that we did for rods and everything I did for my buddy Justin, like kind of raising awarenesses for their thing, all of the community, all of like the new friends, all of the new family, then just really like deep diving, like those 12,000 miles that I felt like I did, like probably 10,000 of those miles were like alone, and, a lot of those miles I didn't want to do it. And a lot of those miles like was in my head, just sharpening the sword, just sharpening, knowing my girls are watching, knowing my wife's watching, knowing my family's watching, like just like in the dungeon, bro, like just in a gnarly dungeon to just get mentally tough, and then to have it come out, like I still like my one of my big goals was show hard work works, show that, like you could do the Triple Crown. You could 3 years ago, I was 228 pounds. I'm not a track star. Never did track. never ran in high school, never did any of this in college. I literally like started running to this level 3 years ago, and I was 228 pounds when I started, and I had 3 DNFs when I first started. And to just know, and I'm a heavier guy, like you said, I'm not 145 pound, 5'7" dude that's just flying in the mountains. Like, I'm a bigger dude. I come from SoCal. I come from nightlife, or thinking that's cool, like in the generation I was in. And to just have it all that work come to, these 3 races where I got to put it all to work and all to celebrate. Like I still don't think I've processed it all, but I do know that it was probably the best 60 days of my life, the most beautiful. Like, another thing is, like, I hope you're proud of me. I hope the community's proud, my parents, like my wife, everybody. But even if nobody was, like, shit, it don't matter, because I'm proud of me, because I know, I know what I endured. I know the negative chatter. I'm human. Like, I get negative chatter. I get that voice. I don't want to do it, but I know how many times I fought it. And so I felt just unbelievably proud of myself and the example I set, and then the way we did it with the community, with the pack, because I couldn't have done it without my wife, without my sister, without, the crew. I love that we showed, like, ultra running is a team sport. It's a family. It's amazing. So, like, we give back, so it's so much, and I'm probably rambling because I still haven't processed it all, but there was just a lot between all of those elements that I'm still wrapping my head around. But I will say that it was like, other than like those, like, marriage and or wedding and kids being born and all that kind of stuff, like, this was probably the top notch.
For sure. Yeah. Well, dude, congratulations, man. You did it. And I watch how hard you work, even if it's just through Instagram. I see you putting in the work, man. And you did it. So hats off to you, man. I mean, just an incredible, incredible effort. And, so much thanks and congratulations goes to your family as well, because they were there and they were a part of it, and the Wolfpack and just everybody that was involved. Yeah. So cool, dude. And I almost hate to ask this question, but I got to ask it. What's next? You've probably,
I love that you asked, because I don't believe in finish lines, my man.
There you go.
Can't have finish lines.
There you go.
As awesome as the Triple Crown is, there's got to be something else. And it doesn't necessarily have to be running. It could just be anything, but we got to keep challenging ourselves. Got to keep working to get better. So my next big challenge is going to be the Cocodona 250.
Nice.
So I'm really pumped for that. I'm in the lottery for the Tahoe 200. I want to actually do the actual Tahoe race. And I think I want to aim for Badwater to be kind of my big 3 for next year. I did some pacing there, and I noticed that I do very well in heat, I think, compared to my peers. So I think I could do really well in that one. Just got to work on the road piece.
Yeah.
So I think those will be my next 3. For sure, Coco. For sure, Coco, because that one I'm already in. I'm excited.
I may be seeing you there, dude. I haven't fully decided yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be seeing you there. So
let's do it, baby.
Dude, I can't wait.
Let's do it.
It would be so epic. Do you look like 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? Like, do you think about that far out? Like, where do I want to take this thing? Or do you think about longevity in the sport? Because, this can't be easy on your body.
No, I'm not thinking 5 years, 10 years, not from like a running perspective. I think that from like a business and home like perspective, like I'm planning out better than that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. No, to be honest, no. I definitely know my goal is to knock out like all these big 200s and then go from there. Because I don't know. I don't know what to think of that, because I have had a lot of people who would have told me my 10 miles a day wouldn't have sustained for 3 years.
True.
And it did.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have I've never had a major injury. You know, like the closest thing was this shin, but I think that's going to kind of happen when you go 240 miles and you know, through a 26-mile road section, you know. So, and I don't believe it's something like serious. Like I think in a few days I'll be able to run again. But like I also am conscientious that, you know, maybe there could be a lot of damage that I'm doing unbeknownst to myself, you know, if I keep it up for another 3 years. So I don't know how to play that. Like, I don't know if some people are built differently or if it will catch up to me, because I do see guys like Cam Hanes, you know, who's out there crushing it, and I do wake up with aches and pains, but it's never injury, and it seems like he's similar, you know. So I don't know. I guess I'll have to kind of just see what my body says, but definitely next year will be another year where, you know, knock on wood, everything stays healthy and I could go do Cocoa, Tahoe, and probably Badwater.
Well, honestly, it sounds like you have a healthy relationship with this thing. Like 5-10 years down the road, like you're planning out your living situation, your family situation, it sounds like. And you should be, I think, you know, most people should be thinking that far ahead. But when it comes to running, yeah, this is a hobby. This is a thing you're passionate about, you know. This isn't necessarily how you're making a living. So you're just like living in the moment, and you're saying right now I can do this and I'm going to kick ass. And next year I'm still going to be able to kick ass. And after that, you know, we'll just see how it goes. And there's no stress or no pressure there. And honestly, I think that's a healthy 100%. Way to look at it.
Yeah. Like I honestly don't even care like what place I finish in these things. Like,
sure.
I just had some like companies hit me up after Moab, you know, and it doesn't interest me because I'm not trying to make a buck. Like I told you, like all the things I have done, I've given it to charity, you know. But in my businesses and investments and real estate, like I do want to make a buck. Sure. So like that's where it's more important for me. I just don't share that, like my entrepreneurial side and my investing side and all that stuff, you know, on social media. But for the running side, like, yeah, I think you nailed it perfectly. Like, I'm having fun. It's a hobby. I'm not trying to make a buck off of this. Like, it would just be more just community, helping people out. Like, I'd be happy to put it together a hoodie and, you know, give it away for charity or something.
Sure.
Have
you ever thought about being a race director?
Have I ever thought about being a race director?
I mean, it sounds like you kind of put one on in San Diego. Is that something that ever piqued your interest or not really?
Like I would never want to be a race director. Well, I don't know. Let me rephrase that. Like, it seems like a lot of work and it seems like a big headache,
for sure. Yeah, big time.
To deal with all the athletes and all this stuff. But I am in talks with a race director who I'm good buddies with here in San Diego. And we are talking about doing an event that's going to be super cool if we can pull it off. It'll be like something wild that will involve running and endurance sports, but it'll be in December. And I want to make it to where your admission to the race is you bring a toy, and it's like a big toy drive. And like, I'll run around a track for 24 hours. My buddy's going to do something insane. And then, you know, people can run for 6, 12, 24. So I don't know if we're going to be able to pull it off, but like things like that, like using Wolfpack or any kind of branding or any awareness I can do, I would definitely do like something like that to where like, hey, Wolfpack's going to be here. You want to come, like bring a toy. Let's have fun. Let's have pop-up tents. Let's, you know, eat some good food. We'll have some food trucks, and let's run around, and then let's collect all these toys and then take it to Rady Children's Hospital or, you know, somewhere where the kids aren't going to get gifts, and let's provide those gifts. Like that kind of stuff is what I think is cool, is what I want to be a part of.
Cool. I think it's a great idea. You're a good guy, Hector. I appreciate you, man. And you're a badass to boot. So, dude, thanks for doing this, man. It's been an honor. Where can people find you online? Do you have a website or anything, or is it just social media?
I do have a website. I need to get better at it. It's called wolfpackendurance.com. But the best way, like if you want to like say hello or get in contact with me or see these cool modeling videos like you mentioned, it's on Instagram, hrod619. Anybody, everybody is like welcome to be Wolfpack family. You know, just got to love, support, and encourage the person to your left and to your right. And you're more than welcome to join.
So there's no criteria. I don't have to go out and run an ultra or do 1,000 push-ups or anything to be part of the Wolfpack. I can just, how does it work? Just like hashtag Wolfpack, or just like hit you up, or how does it all work?
All the above. Hit me up, hit anybody else up. Like, just show love, support, encourage, you know, and try to be better than you were yesterday. Could be running, could be reading, could be studying, could be lifting weights. It don't matter. Like, that's what we do. We just support one another to be better than yesterday.
Yeah, that's what's up, dude. That's beautiful. Your brother was injured earlier this year. Is that right? Because he was planning on doing this with you. How's he doing?
He was, so that Vegas run that I said hurt my foot on the asphalt and the Jackpot Ultra, crushed him. He had screws already in his ankle from an injury, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something. And in that race, like the screws shifted or something along those lines to where he needed surgery. So he actually got surgery, I believe it was October 4th, which is why he wasn't in Moab for me, because I think the race was October 8th. And then he had to be back within 7 days for like a follow-up meeting with the doc. So he finally got it taken care of. He's finally, you know, I think he's 3 weeks, 4 weeks or whatever it is in the process of getting healed up.
Okay. Okay. You got a badass family, man. Your sister, your brother. I mean, you must have good genetics in that family. I thank your parents.
Tough, yeah.
Are your parents tough too?
My mom is ruthless. She's a mama bear, bro.
She's the toughest one of all.
She's tough. Yeah. She is super tough. Super tough, super just mama bear, 100%. So I take like her craziness and I just funnel it to the ultra running and to like the goal setting. She just goes at anything. Like, she's wild, but I love her. I love her to death.
Cool. So cool, dude. Well, listen, man, thanks for doing this. And I really hope to see you at Cocodona this year. It would be a blast to share some miles with you. It would just be awesome, man. So keep doing what you're doing. You're an inspiration. You're a connector. You radiate this sort of like peace and just, I don't know. It's something cool, man. So whatever it is you're doing, just keep doing it. But hope to see you in the future, man.
Thank you.
You're freaking badass.
Thank you, brother. I hope to see you in Coco. I hope to see any of your listeners in Coco. Yes. If anybody is going to be at Coco who's listening to this, like, hit me up. Like, let's get lunch before. Let's support each other on the journey to the Coco 250. I got to pace some of it, so I saw some of the course. Truly badass. The coverage Air Vipa does is like next level. So I think this is going to be like an epic experience. So if anybody's ever thinking about it, this is the one. You got the Wolfpack. Hopefully we got you. And Mike McKnight is coming back as far as I'm tracking. So nice. We're going to have some fun out there.
Dude, I think you just solidified my decision right there. That's
go.
Beautiful.
Let's go.
You know, I was watching some of that tracking last year and your name kept coming up. Like, Hector's here, or Hector says this. So it sounds like you were really involved, man. So it's so cool. You're just immersed in this world,
Give back, man. I volunteered.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Hector, thank you so much, man. You're a beautiful soul. Just keep doing what you're doing, and can't wait to see you on the trail, man.
Awesome, man. Love you. Thank you for having me. Always a blast.
Brother. Take care. Talk soon.